I want to start this episode off with World Baseball Classic talk because it is getting me actually sick to my stomach what's going on. Yesterday, Altuve now gets hit by a pitch. He goes down, breaks his thumb now. He is out indefinitely. I'm sure Houston loves that news, but I was never able to address the Edwin Diaz situation. So Edwin Diaz, we all know, goes down with a freak injury. I get it. It could have happened anywhere, but it didn't happen anywhere. It happened at the WBC. Sure, it could have happened in spring training, yada, yada, yada. The bottom line is Edwin Diaz, who's not only a $100 million asset for the New York Mets, he is the heart and soul and identity of that team. He's a guy who shows how you can change, where he gets traded to New York, he kind of stumbles a little bit, and then finds his bearings and becomes just an absolute murderer in the ninth inning, right? Even the game he gets hurt and goes with Puerto Rico, he strikes out the side. He's incredible. And for him to go down now for this meaningless tournament and see what the ripple effect has happened, it is sickening to me. It really is. There's no other way to put it. So anyone who's defending this tournament that is useless and literally borderline unwatchable, when you have a big game, for example, yesterday, a big game. United States is playing Venezuela in a elimination game, and they bring in Daniel Bard, who literally doesn't even know how to throw a baseball at this point, in the biggest inning of the game. It's because no one cares. No one cares about this team. No one cares about this tournament. It's an absolute joke. And in my comments and all over the sports world, you have these weirdos who are trying to push this weird agenda that the World Baseball Classic is like amazing and it like means a lot of things. It doesn't mean a thing. I'm going to read you a direct quote from one of the people who commented on my video. This guy at Carlo, Karlo, Tabe. Swear to God, this is a direct quote. He says, "The WBC is the baseball equivalent of the Soccer World Cup. Many players say they'd rather win the WBC over the World Series." Now, the first part of that, let's address that, the World Cup scenario. The World Cup is one of the most watched events in the world, period, no matter if it's a sporting event or other. Okay, we're talking about the World Baseball Classic that no one even knew was on during the NCAA tournament. So that's the first thing. You got half of the Americans not even playing because they don't care. Half of the pitchers in general all over the world don't even care because they want to save their arms for the real season, okay? And then the second half of this quote, which is, many players say they'd rather win the WBC over the World Series. I originally thought this guy was really out of his mind, but then I heard a couple quotes from players, including Francisco Lindor, who he's always rubbed me the wrong way. Always rubbed me the wrong way. He says, direct quote, I understand. He's talking about Diaz. He says, "I understand how Mets fans are hurting. But while for so many people the regular season is what counts, playing the WBC is just as important to all of us." If I was a Mets fan, if I especially had a Lindor jersey, I would not only burn the jersey, I would want him off the team right now. That is one of the most pathetic quotes I've ever seen in my life. And you'd think all these guys who keep talking about how important this is, their teams keep losing, and they don't lack talent. So, I mean, if it was this important, you'd think they would do better. You'd think Puerto Rico would have advanced. You'd think all these things, right? So you got that. You got Manny Machado, who I like, saying, he's on the record saying that the WBC means more to him than the league and the World Series. Well, guess what, bud? I know this is a team sport, but maybe I wonder why you haven't won and why when you were with the Dodgers, it was a complete disaster. You weren't Johnny Hustle. It's because of things like this. If you are an actual professional baseball player and your priorities are so twisted that this useless, non-ratings, bullshit exhibition tournament means more to you than winning the World Series, I can't even fathom it. And if I was a GM, if I was an owner, I wouldn't pay you a cent. I would not pay you a cent. If you care as a fan about the WBC as much as these players are claiming to, if you are trying to perpetuate this idea that this is important, you are nothing else than just a genuine nerdy boner. There's no other way to put it. I mean, anyone trying to defend this sport in terms of this tournament is truly a moron. They're lost, or they're trying to there's a conspiracy theory. They're trying to push this for rate. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, this is why I struggle with baseball, and I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. The reason why there's so many issues with baseball is because they keep doing things that the actual fans don't care about. Okay, and they keep trying to push things that these ancillary pieces, these weird fans that are the 1% that they care about. And another thing, if you are one of these people who's trying to act like me for bashing the WBC is like an ethical or moral thing, and that I'm a bad guy because of this, you need to see a therapist. You need to figure yourself out and see a therapist. This tournament means absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean anything. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. If you're one of these guys, like you're Lindor, And you know damn well that you're playing for a team with a fan base that has such a rich history of just being let down, but at the same time rooting so hard and passionately. You have an owner paying you. You broke the record for the biggest contract as a shortstop when you had no business getting it. Let's call it how it is. If you do that shit where you're going to act like this WBC is not a big deal that Diaz gets hurt and that everyone should grow up because it's just, oh, you know what? His wife comes out and says how like people need to realize that these are human beings. No. I get it. You're getting paid $100 million, bro, if you're Edwin Diaz. And I don't have any issue with Diaz. To see him go down that way and for Steve Cohen he's got the money to not care about it, but the bottom line is you give this guy $100 million. Now it's in jeopardy a little bit. It's just upsetting to me. Now you have Trey Turner. Hits a grand slam, I guess. No one's watching because we have the NCAA, again, the NCAA tournament is on during this. They think people are going to tune into this. And I get it that the stadium is packed because you got a lot of foreign fans in Miami who want to watch it. Great. It's fun. But you have Trey Turner hits a go-ahead grand slam, apparently. I have the TikTok clips and comments of these like 10-year-old kids or whoever the fuck knows who they are trying to act like this is one of the best moments in baseball history. I'm sorry, you're lost. You're truly lost. And then you got Ken Rosenthal in the postgame on the field interviewing Trey Turner, and he has the balls to ask him if this is the best moment of his career. If this was a big game, you're not putting in Daniel Bard. If you're America, if you're the United States of America, and this is a baseball tournament, to show your dominance as a power. Again, this is America's pastime, okay? You have a lethal lineup. You have their entire pitching staff. No one knows anyone if you're a casual fan. But the point is that in the seventh inning, I rewatched the game this morning because I wanted to talk about this so badly that I needed to break it down. I think it was the seventh inning or sixth inning, I'm forgetting. You go ahead and you put in Daniel Bard, who, we all have seen it over the last couple of years, and specifically in this tournament I've seen it. This guy has no clue what he's doing. He's lost his mechanics. He's gotten a little bit in his head. You put him in the. If this was not even forget about the playoffs in the MLB. If this was just like a meaningful September game, and for example, the Yankees had Daniel Bard on their team, who clearly the fans would have already gotten on because he doesn't know how to throw a baseball anymore, and you put him in a 2-run game in the seventh inning in a big maybe game to lock a division down, it would be front page complete. Crazy news for the next couple of days about how Aaron Boone, this and that, but no one cares about this tournament. So yeah, throw them in because they got no one else. Throw them in.